What's going on, guys? Well, I would say I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, but I think it's nearly impossible considering the Nasdaq is down 5% today, and at some point today it was down almost 6%, right? So what happened today? I'm gonna go through that and more, and I'm gonna share a bit of thoughts and mindset to get through this, right? So let's start. S&P is down 3.5%, Dow is down 3%, and Nasdaq is down 5%, right? So year to date, the Nasdaq is down about 23%, the Dow about 10%, and the S&P about 12%. Right? So you can see the Dow industrials are clearly outpacing the other indexes, right? And the Nasdaq is clearly trailing very far behind, right? The Russell is about the same, right? These are like the small caps, right? So if we take a look at what happened today, Apple is basically down almost 6%, right? And this is really, really huge, right? Because Apple is about 13% weighting in the S&P 500, right? And Microsoft is down 4%, Alphabet is down 4%, Amazon is down nearly 8%. Imagine that, right? And Tesla down 8%. So you can see Berkshire is actually Warren Buffett's financial fortress is actually doing extremely well, right? Only down 2.62%, where else other huge companies of similar size are down like 6 to 7 or even 8%, right? So what's causing this huge decline in our stock portfolio? So basically it's these two reports coupled with the implications of these two reports, right? So US worker productivity report and also US trade deficit report, right? So basically US worker productivity fell at its steepest since 1947, right? So that's a 70-year high, right? So while growth in unit labor cost accelerated, indicating that rising wage pressures will continue contributing to keeping inflation elevated for a while, right? So basically what this sentence means is the US worker is being less and less efficient while the cost of hiring the US worker is going higher, right? So we all know that companies want high efficiency, right? Because the higher your efficiency, the less cost per unit you can produce with, right? So let's say if you send something to America, let's say it's a pack of cigarettes and you want it to be produced, it costs you, let's say, $1 of labor per packet. Now when you send it to China, it costs you 10 cents. Obviously, it doesn't cost so big difference or whatever it is. That's just a visualization of it, right? And the second thing is also the US international trade in goods and services deficit, right? So it rose to 110 billion. So crazy amounts, right? The deficit is basically how much you export minus how much you import, right? So basically the US is a negative 100 billion, right? So basically they're consuming more than they're producing. And you should really read the rest of this report yourself, right? But basically I don't have so much time, so I can't really go through so much, right? So basically the US is consuming 110 billion more imports than they are exporting. So you can see that this will really weigh on the US GDP, right? Because how the GDP works is, let me just Google up the formula. So basically how GDP reports work is C is consumption plus I is investment, G is government spending, and X minus M is net exports, right? So basically, if your net exports is really heavily negative, it will really weigh down your GDP, right? So yeah, obviously negative 110 billion here is not good, right? So in the next part of the video, I just really want to talk about mindset and also how we can get through this stormy weather, right? Basically, it's actually really, really good news for anyone in their 20s or anyone even in their 30s, right? That the financial markets are doing terribly, right? Because you can really, really accumulate more and more assets, right? Because a lot of people are focused on the dollar amount, right? Like, how many dollars do I have? Oh my god, I lost $100 or $1,000 today, right? Rather than focusing on how many shares of the company you own, right? And also, it's not always good to focus on the shares of the company because you might be buying into cow dung and you think, oh, I have more cow dung and I have more cow dung, right? But that's not the focus of it, right? The focus of it is you want to increase your ownership in good businesses, right? And this is the age-old saying, right? I will tell you how to become rich. Close the doors. Be fearful when others are greedy. Be greedy when others are fearful, right? And right now we can see that there's a lot of fear, right? So even though the Dow is only down about 10%, right? It really, really feels like we are in deep bear market and correction territory, right? Because even though it's only down 10%, you can see the amount of panic and the amount of fear within investors is insane, right? Because obviously the Dow is only down 10%, but the Nasdaq is down 23%. And if you look deeper under the hood, there are stocks that are down 70, 80, 90%, right? So that's pretty insane. So let's just take a look at what Warren Buffett is actually doing, right? Warren Buffett set out much of the post-COVID-19 sell-off to the detriment of Berkshire Hathaway. And this is where he really admitted, right? He really failed to foresee how strong the government would come in and save the markets in 2020, right? And currently, there is no that option anymore, right? Because a lot of people invested based on the thinking that, oh, no matter how we fall in the future, right? And this is basically the moral dilemma that governments have, right? Do they let you fail now, or do they not let you fail and make you think that the next time when you fail, they will have your back, right? And basically, in my opinion, the government will not have your back anymore, right? Not because they don't want to. If politicians have the easy way out, they will always take it, right? But because there's this really, really high inflation, so their hands are really tight, right? If they continue stimulating, their inflation will be like double digits already, right? And we are probably going there anyways, right? So the Oracle of Omaha took action, purchasing 51 billion of equities and selling less than 10 billion. So net, he has bought about $41 billion of equities, right, in 2022, right, in the first quarter. So I think this is a really telling sign that Warren Buffett is actually turning greedy, right? And I'm very happy to see this because basically this is when stock prices are low, right? And Warren Buffett has practiced these principles all his life, right? So I'm really happy to see that Warren Buffett has gotten this opportunity to start buying stocks again, right? Maybe for the last time in his life, right? Because he's very old already, and stock markets have been very, very overvalued for the past about 6, 7, or almost up to 10 years, right? So that also bodes well for us investors, right? Because this is a chance for us to accumulate ownership of great companies at a very low price as well, right? As long as you can figure out the price, this is also something that I want to talk about, right? A lot of people are not buying on the basis that, oh, it might fall further, right? And as long as you can figure out the price of $1, right? So if you can figure out that this $1 is selling for 50 cents, right? Would it bother you that from 50 cents it went to 40 cents? From 40 cents it went to 30 cents? Obviously, you want to buy when it's 10 cents, right? But no one knows whether it will even go to 10 cents, right? And that's a bit food for thought for anyone that is waiting, right? So most of these bear markets, the reason the falls are so steep, right? It's not because, oh, there's so much selling going on or whatever it is, right? So the real reason is because liquidity dries up, right? People are scared to take action, right? And basically the spread basically is very big, right? So basically, if you want to sell an asset at $10, maybe someone will say, I'll give you $9.90 for it, and then you'll take it, right? Because you need the liquidity for something else, maybe your house, maybe your mortgage, or whatever it is, right? So yeah, definitely we really, really feel like we're in a bear market right now, right? So this is the time to be paying attention, right? Not to be disinterested, right? So let me tell you a personal story for the people who stayed till the very end, right? So this is like a personal story. In 2017, I went and bought Bitcoin, right? So basically, towards the tail end of the cycle, because I was young then, I was listening to all this hype and all, right? So towards the end of the cycle, I actually bought Bitcoin, right? So it wouldn't have been an issue if I continued paying attention, right? But where I made a huge mistake was my attention was no longer there, right? When the prices stopped going up, my attention just faded away, right? And this time I will not make this mistake, right? This time when stocks are cheap, when cryptos are cheap, I'll be plowing in money like never before, right? So yeah, that's about all I wanted to share today. If you did enjoy the video, do help me smash up the like button. So apologize if I'm not so energetic. I actually didn't intend to make this video. It's like 6 a.m. in the morning in my country, right? Basically, my cat woke me up and I couldn't fall back asleep. And I thought, with this historic news going on, why not make a video, right? I haven't made a video in about a week as well, right? But yeah, hope you guys have a good day and hope you guys took something out of this video, right?